Hi, Rick. Welcome to the Microsoft 365 Developer Bootcamp Hyderabad. Happy to be part of this event. And everyone, Ricky is a MEP and part from Belgium. He's going to explain you about extended and unextended in Microsoft Teams app and with the demo. Uh, Welcome to the session. Thanks for joining. Ricky, please take it from here.
Yeah, cool. So hi everybody, good evening. Yeah, I turned off my video because I'm in the browser, but yeah, the slides are, we're not doing that much slides. I don't like slides. I like demos a lot more. So we'll dive into the code instantly. So
Okay,
extend the unextended in Microsoft Teams. If you have any questions, just shout out, interrupt me. I don't care. It's we're not that many people, so it's just a small get together. So let's get started. First, yeah, of course, big thank you to the sponsors because getting events now virtually and sponsors is even more hard. So it's not that simple anymore to do events. So thanks to the sponsors that they just keep on sponsoring. So quick recap. Let's start from the beginning. We all know we can build tabs in Microsoft Teams. So that's the thing you see here in purple. So you can add tabs. We're not going to talk about tabs today. We can add bots, of course. We can add connectors, so you can just send, you get a URL and then you can send JSON to that connector, and then you get information into Microsoft Teams. We're also not going to talk about that today. We have activity feed integration, so this is your activity feed. We can put stuff in there. We have to build a bot for that, but we can put stuff in it. We can do outgoing webhooks, so if you have an URL somewhere, like an Azure function, and you configure Team to send information to that Azure function, you can get information out of Teams. It's also called custom bots, by the way. And since Ignite, we also already had some calling integrations, so you could also do media bots, where a bot could send a stream to the meeting or get the audio from a meeting or stuff like that. But nowadays, since Ignite, they announced that we're going to have more meeting integrations, so there will be some pre-meeting integrations, and during the meeting you can do a pop-up and you can ask questions and you can do surveys, and after the meeting there's also going to be an extension point. So I'm eager to see that one because I haven't seen the preview yet. But this is the reason why we're here today. So messaging extensions. I also put compose extensions there because it used to be compose extensions, and then Microsoft marketing said no, it's not a good name, let's call it messaging extensions. But remember that, because in the manifest it's still called compose extensions, and to be honest, if you Google stuff, I think you find more information on compose extensions than messaging extensions, because on the Microsoft information they just did a quick replace, Control F, Control replace, and then everything was replaced. But yeah, that doesn't mean that on Stack Overflow everything is changed. So if you Google something, just search for compose extensions, you might find the correct answer. So that's the reason why we are here. Let's dive into compose extensions or messaging extensions. First off, location. We can add tabs and bots and all that stuff, but actually compose extensions or messaging extensions, I think they have the best location. You can add them right directly to the screen, as you can see here. So you can have more actions on a conversation or a message, or you can add a button here as well. So this is actually it's the best thing to add your app to. If you add a tab or something, somebody has to go into a team or a channel, then they click the tab button. But this is right here in every conversation if you add it correctly. So yeah, you're instant in the view of the user. But of course, with great power comes great responsibility. Don't overcount these locations. Don't go building 50 messaging extensions that put stuff in here, because if then they click the 3 dots and they have like 50 more apps, then that might be a little bit too much. So be careful, and that's also a reason why we can add more messaging extensions to one simple app. If we're going to start with messaging extensions, they're also based on the bot framework. So that's the bad news. You have to create an entire bot for it to use it. On the other hand, it's smart of the team that built Teams, that they needed something to do the authentication part, and they need instead of building again another framework, they used the bot framework. So on that basis, it's good. They use the same thing for everything, so that's easy. So it uses the same authentication and the same JSON schema. So once you know you can build a bot, you also know how to build a messaging extension. And like I just said, a messaging extension can hold up to 10 different commands. Now those commands, they're two-based. We can have search-based commands and action-based commands. So let's dive into the search-based first and do the action-based later on. So a search-based command, how do we do that in our manifest? So as you can see here, it's still called compose extension, of course. So yeah, they cannot backwards compatibility. We all know that. So they cannot change it in the manifest. Here we get our bot ID. So yeah, we have to set up a full bot, of course. Then the can update configuration. I'll get to that later. You can configure your messaging extension or let people configure it if you need it. So the true or the false here defines if people can update the configuration once they install. And then we start with our commands. These are the most important things. So here we first have our search command. How do we know it's a search command? Well, we have the type query. You have a type, and if it's query, then it's a search command. You give it an ID and a description. That's something you choose yourself, and a title. The ID is for internal use, so just for you. So if you need to, so if you have multiple search commands, yeah, you need to differentiate between them. So of course, yeah, you give them an ID so you can use them in your code. The title and description is what the user sees. Then the type your initial run. So we do a search query. How do you want to execute that search query? Do you want the user to type something and then start it up? Then you put this to false. If you want that the user open this up and there are immediately results, then you put it to true, and then it runs already a search command with an empty value. Could be depending on the use case that you need this, of course. And then more importantly, there's the context. Where do we want this to show up? We have compose and we have command box. So compose is like I just said a few slides ago. So if you go back, these are the compose ones. So in the compose, and while you're composing a message, and the command box, I'll show that in a minute because yeah, I had to find it myself. It's so well hidden in Teams. I don't believe that any user uses it, or they should have like extensive Teams training or something. But I'll show you in a minute where that's hidden. And then of course, yeah, we can have some parameters because yeah, this is our command, but I'll show you a little bit. We also need to have an additional like a search field. So what's in the search query field and what's the title of the search query field, and we can add stuff. So this is the compose. You see it. If you click on the three little dots, you get this thingy. You get your app, and then if you click on the app, you get this screen that you see on the right where you can enter your search keyword words. As you can see, it's this one. Enter your search keyword. So you can also change that if you want to. So this is the command box. It's on the top bar. So here in the command box, you can also search for stuff with your app. Yeah, it's really hard to find. Let me show you. So I have my compose extension here. So my app is called, let's open it up. My app is called company app. So if I type here, see add company app, and then I can say, okay, I have multiple messaging extensions, but the easy one is this. The first one, what we're doing now is a search. Then you click on the search, and then you can do your search key carry words. I'm not sure my code is not, yeah, my code is running, so that's no problem. So if I search here for Teams or something, doesn't matter. Then I can, let's debug later on. Then I can find information and I can find it here. And then, yeah, it just loads that up, and it's not really, yeah, I haven't found a user who knows how to do this even. So yeah, that's for something, for the more experienced users. And then you can find, so you do a search query, and then, yeah, I added a button, open in browser. So we can add an open in browser, but it's not like, yeah, I can copy it here, but then I have to go to my conversation and add it here, which is, yeah, difficult. It's very hard to find. It's easier. So this is the normal extension. I have my conversation, I open up my search, and as you can see here, I open my app, I get my search key query word. Here I can search for Teams as well. Debug, we'll get into the code just a little bit further. See here, you can find the information, and if I click on it, then all the debug breakpoints, then it's normally added. Yeah, there's an issue in Teams right now, so I need to type something. Oh, new conversation, type something, put it in compose, and then I can find Teams. And then the information that you search here, yeah, let's put away this breakpoint for 1 second, because there we go, and we find the information, and we can add it to our team. And this, yeah, it's easier to find just, yeah, I don't know anybody who uses that command box, but yeah, it's there, you can use it, but I don't know. I think this is much more, yeah, interesting for an end user. And then they can just hit enter, and everything goes into the team. Now, Let's get back to our presentation. We can even add more search commands. I think you already saw that. So if we add multiple, so as you know, we can add up to 10 commands. So if we add an additional search command, then we just get a second one. So one tab, a second tab, a third tab, so up until 10 if you want to. Which, let's say, for instance, you have a search that searches in the CRM system, and you have a search that searches in, I don't know, another backend system or in SharePoint or whatever, then you can differentiate between the 2 or the 3 if you need that. So yeah, the good thing the team thought about that we can differentiate between those things. Now, code, much cooler. So how do we do that? Like I already said, let's just stop this one. Okay, first off, our manifest. So as you can see, compose extension, like you did in the slide, and here I have my search command and my second search command. Compose box, command box, so they're all in here. So I have the 2 ones that are in here. So you all know I created a bot. So this is the bot ID, as you can see. I added my ngrok is running because we need to tunnel from Teams into our dev environment. So I'm thinking, yeah, you already did a little bit of dev in Teams. I don't know if everybody did dev in Teams, but yeah, you can, if you guys know this, because then I can explain if you want to know more information about this. So it's because, yeah, Teams runs in the cloud, of course. It has to find our code in the cloud. Our code is running on my laptop here, so it's running on my local machine. So what does ngrok do? It gives me some kind of public URL and it tunnels it to my local host. So the moment I click play, you configure this, of course, what type of local host you're running. So the moment I hit my F5 button, we're good to go, and I know, okay, it's running on my local host. I here see 44358. Yeah, this is because it's HTTPS, but it's also running on HTTP on this location. So everything that comes into this URL goes to this URL. Why do I know that? You can even just check it. So if I copy this and I take my browser and I go here, then I just go to my app. See, this is my app running here. Same thing as here. Company app. So let's get into it. Now, where did I put my breakpoint before? Not this one, it was this one. So the moment we do a search query, what do we do? Well, first off, it all works with overrides. So even I took C#, but that's a cool thing about the Teams team. Oh, actually, it's the bot framework team. So here it's called on Teams messaging extension query async. This C#, if you rather do Node, they kept the names almost exactly the same. So here you do an override on to handle Teams messaging extension query. So it's almost the same. So yeah, I have it in Node, I have it in C#, but the names are consistently between them, or almost consistently, which makes it a lot easier. If you can do it in C#, you can do it in Node, and vice versa. Okay, there's a little bit of difference in the code, of course, but the names are the same, and yeah, the parameters are also the same. You get a context back and a query. See here as well. So in Node, I get my context back and my query. So here again, I get my context. What's in that context? Who's asking it? What user? What channel? So information you might need, and of course the query. What did the user type in? Here, of course, in C# you also get a cancellation token, which you don't have in Node because it's async. Yeah, this is async as well, but in C# you get a little bit more, but you don't never need that cancellation token. So the moment I start typing something, so where's my app? Here we go. So I don't know, Teams again. And I do a search. So we come in. So what do we get? As you can see, our query, if we open that up, I hope everybody can see this. If you can't see this, just interrupt me. So this is our command ID, search command. Remember that one? That was the thing I said in the manifest. So I can differentiate between them. And it has one parameter, and that's what it says. Yeah, the search keyword that I wanted was team. So I just typed in team. So we check what's the result. I got a text, team. Now, one thing you should remember, Teams, because yeah, it wants the user to have a perfect experience. If you don't respond within 5 seconds, you're gonna have an error. So if I go back to my, see, it's already saying unable to reach app, please try again. I already have an error. It's no problem if you're debugging your code, of course, because yeah, it doesn't error. It's just because I don't know how fast you guys can debug, but I can debug within 5 seconds. So yeah, this is pretty basic stuff. I have my text. I have a custom search client. So I don't know if you heard about it, but there's something called the Bing Search API. And there you can do searches on specific URLs. So instead of going to Bing, you can say, okay, go to Bing, but only get results from, I don't know, website X, Y, and Z. But in this case, I'm just going from, you might already notice, I'm always going to support@microsoft.com. I'll get to that later as well. Why do I do that? So you have a search subscription key. I do a result back, and there we go. I have my results. So I did a query. It took too long, and then I do some attachments, of course, because we have to give all those cards you saw rendering. Well, that's a list of attachments. So Teams attachments. So it's called a list, a messaging extension attachment, and in that attachment, a list of attachments, we add cards. We can add hero cards, thumbnail cards, all that stuff. So let's do it again, but a little bit faster, because of course this errored. So the moment I do another search query, so if you type it as another search query, and this way we're going to get more answers. See, so this is a list you get back of all those hero cards, all my results. Now we have this small thing, but of course, the moment somebody clicks on it, we have to give back the big thing, or the real result. So the moment I click on it, we have another method that we come into, and that's on Teams messaging extension selected items. So somebody selected an item. What do you get with this one? Well, you get the query, but in that query is the item that you selected. So all that information that I sent here, so from my preview card, it's kind of a preview card, of course, I can get that back. So this, I converted that to an article because I get articles back. I can just do query to object, get my extension search result, and I get the article that somebody clicked. And then I can get that information and I can show it a little bit cooler, because I show it in a bigger card. This is a thumbnail card, and it makes it a little bit cooler. So this thing, I don't need to do a list of extension responses, just a single one. So I do a single one back. Yeah, it's probably too slow. Let's try again. So we type something. Yeah, it's an error in Teams. It's only for debug, when you debug, that you have this issue. So Teams or something. Let's go to it real fast. I get my result. I click on it, and then I get my real result back, which is a messaging extension result, and then you get this little card. So even, yeah, you can even say, okay, when you search, we don't add an image or we give back different information. And the moment somebody wants to paste it into his conversational box, then we can send out different information. As you can see here, in the search, I don't add open in browser. Here I do, because yeah, let's say somebody needs help on from Office support on Microsoft Teams, then of course they need to find that. So that's why I added the open in browser button, which says, okay, there's a button here and people can open that up. This just goes to, I don't know, support.microsoft.com to get information. So remember that there's two methods that you need, one to get all the results and then one to get the specific result. So those were the search extensions. Let's get back to our small presentation. And then the cool thing is we have action-based commands. So search is if somebody needs to search something and get information and adds that to Teams. That was the original thing that the messaging extension did, and that was it. I think it was already 3 years ago or something. Nowadays we also can have action-based. Why? Because actions, that's more. You can really add a value with actions. So same here. Only to find the action. So I have the search here. If you add an action, there's going to be like a little plus icon where you then can open up the action. And on the other one, it just adds it. So actually, action-based, it's a group name for different solutions. Why did they call it action-based? Because they all look and have the same functionality, and they look a little bit the same, and they're a little bit based on the same principle. It's all a pop-up or a model. The official name is a model dialog, but we all know it's just a pop-up. So we're going to get 3 flavors of those. We have a static list of parameters, an adaptive card, and an embedded web view. So it goes from simple to harder. So if we do static list of parameters, so that's easiest. You have something like this built within, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. Why? Because in the manifest, you give all your parameters. So you just say, okay, I want 5 questions or 2 questions, and you could just say, render me this question, render me that question, and render me, I have 3 questions here, name, choice, and date. It's order a sandwich. So name, which is easy. Why? Because you just say, I want a name. I call it the name. The description is your name. the title is title, and just say Teams, it's a text field. Just render me a text field. Or a choice field, Teams, render me a choice field, so a drop down, these are the choices. Or Teams, render me a date field. So you have super quick results because Teams renders the entire view for you. Just need to say, okay, I need this field, this field, and this field. These are the names. But of course, you're limited because you have a text area, number, date, time, toggle. So it's 2, 4, 6, 7 choices that you have, not that much. For simple use cases, this is okay. What does that mean? We just add all of this to the manifest. The only thing we need to build ourselves is a save function. So if you have I don't know, the need for a quick question list or something, or here a quick order lunch system, then it's built pretty simple. Just added the questions here and you just implement the save function and you're good to go. Then a little bit harder. Let's go to the hardest part first. So here you have no control. Teams renders everything just the way Teams wanted to. If you say, no, I want full control, then we can go to the embedded web view. So here you can have complete control. It's just a pop-up. That's an iframe, actually. It's pop-up. And Teams just say, here's your pop-up. It's an HTML page. You do whatever you want with it. So you can that means, you have complete control, but you have to build, of course, a lot of, more screens. Now we can trigger this in 2 ways. One is fetch task and one is task inflow. So what is fetch task? It means if somebody clicks the button, then Teams goes to our code and says, okay, somebody clicked the button. What do I have to do now? Meaning you have even more control because, let's say, for instance, you need to do some logic on the URL of the HTML page that you're showing, or which URL has to be shown, or even if you deploy something, if you have a new version, you can in code change this, which is full control. Or you can just say, no, Teams, if somebody clicks the button, I don't need to do anything with this is the URL that they have to go to. So the location is described in the manifest. As you can see here, this one just says fetch task, and this one says, no, here you have to go. Here, this is the title of the page, this is the width and the height of the pop-up, and this is the URL that you have to go to. The other things, we already saw that, ID, description, title. And then we have the adaptive card that's a little bit in the middle. It's easier to create because there's the adaptive card builder online. I'll show you that in a minute. But it's easier to create and haven't seen an end user create an adaptive card yet. Yes, it's not that simple because I haven't seen an end user. If you tell them, okay, this is in JSON, then most people just freak out. So it's not that simple. But of course, it's easier than to build the entire HTML page. It uses the same logic as an embedded web view, so it also, you build the adaptive card, but it also gets the information from your code. You just have to say, okay, this is the adaptive card, here's the JSON, and Teams will get that working. And the cool thing about this one, there's also a preview available. I'll show you that in the middle in a little bit, because you can just say, okay, hi user, this is the preview of the card that I'm sending, and then the user can change it if he wants to, and then you can add the real card. It's a little bit like in the search. You do one query to your call to your code to say what's the preview, and the user can see the preview, and then you do another one to get the real adaptive card. Let me show you all this in code, and it makes much more sense than all these slides. So the first one, like I said, so I get this little plus icon. Let's see if my code is still running. I get this little plus icon. So here it's really hard to find this little plus icon, and there I have my 3 action-based messaging extensions. Oh, that's a mouthful. Action-based messaging extensions. How does that look in my manifest? So let's go to my manifest. So these were the 2 search ones, and then I added 3. Remember, you can add up to 10. So I added 1, which is order lunch on Saturday. So description, title, we already had that. And here you see this is an action-based. So type action or type query. You only have those 2 until now. And then, of course, we have our context. So we have our command. So where does that have to show up in Teams? Command box, message, and compose. Meaning command box, you know that one. So if I did add company app, there we go. Here's my order lunch on Saturday. So for this one, it's a little bit simpler. Or you can add it here with the little plus icon. So this is compose because it's your compose box. And then the message one is here. See, order lunch on Saturday. So depending on your use case, pick one or pick all of them. First one is the static one. So we say, okay, Teams, you don't need to call the URL because this has to be false. Why? Because these are my parameters. I need a name, I need a choice field, and I need a date field. And these are, so this is the input type text, input type choice set, and input type date. So if I click on that, let me open up this one, whatever's easiest. Or then see, Teams renders this page. So I cannot change anything about this. Is Teams. Teams just say, okay, title your name. As you can see here, title is title and description is your name. So choice field, we get a drop down, and date field, we get this date field with whatever we want. So I can just add stuff. We can just say, okay, my name is Rick, and I'm gonna eat a little, well, I know, cheese sandwich or something. Click on submit, and then the only thing we need to implement is the save functionality. So where's our save functionality? Yeah, one thing you have to be careful with, as you can see here. So with all the overrides, especially from Teams, these are all my methods in one code base. So you're gonna have a lot of extension overrides. See, on Teams extension, on Teams extension, on Teams. There's gonna be a lot of them. So I selected the item. We don't need that one. We don't need this one. We need on Teams messaging extension submit action. So it's this one. So we submit an action. So let's do that again. Let's clear this one. App. Lunch. My name is Rick. Choice field, cheese sandwich, and a date field. Let's take the day. Submit. So, like I said, we get the information from Teams renders everything. The only thing we need to do is save. So, of course, I need to know which is the command ID, because yeah, we have a lot of order lunches. I created 3 of them in my manifest, so we need to know which one is it. So this one is a order lunch on Saturday. It's this one. You can see it here. It's this one. That's why we need those IDs. And then we can just say, okay, either return a hero card. So we just create a card response. So let's go in that, just a hero card. So I get my static information, and I just say, okay, this is my new hero card. Give it a title, subtitle, and some text. Nothing special, nothing fancy. It's a little bit too slow. Let's do that again. But yeah, you have to be fast with messaging extensions, I told you. So one more time, cheese, date, today, submit. There we go, F5. As you can see here, so this is our hero card that I rendered, and then yeah, we can put that in the compose box. Now, as you see, for this use case, it would be stupid to, let's say a user orders lunch, and then he tells his, I don't know, his colleagues that he ordered lunch. Yeah, it's not that small. Not that. Why would he do that? So in this case, I wouldn't have added it here. I would have added it just here in this one. Then yeah, you don't need to. You're still in Teams. You can order a lunch from Teams, but yeah, you don't need to tell your colleagues that you ordered lunch. See, so this is the hero card. But okay, we don't have that much things to choose from. So let's do the one with the fetch. So now I'll go to my code. So as you can see here, this is running, and this takes a little bit longer. Why? Because we're going to our code. We'll do this later. And in our code, we can say, okay, hi Teams. Wait, this is hi Teams. Yeah, don't look at this one yet. This is for authentication later. We just need to say, okay, Teams, you need to go to this URL. So it's the same as in the manifest, as you can see, without the fetch. So here I say title with height URL, and here I say the same, but then in code. So it's whatever you prefer, because here you can also say, see, the name is you already know some context about the user, because the user's office location. We also know that the context is Teams, so you can add more logic in here if you want that. And then, okay, this is taking too long, of course. And then we can just say, where's my app again? Let me click a little bit faster with the fetch. So we get just this my HTML page, and it's rendering pretty. Okay, let's refresh my Teams. That was a little bit weird. So it's rendering a little bit, just takes the URL from the browser and it gets it back. Let me do that again. There we go, a little bit faster. There we go, just an HTML page. As you can see here, we're going to .lunch. See, so just /lunch. So if I go here, this is just this page, just stupid, just a normal HTML page. Lunch. No, what was the URL? There you go, just a normal HTML page. And I think I need to, there we go, see? Didn't type it correctly, just or lunch page. So you can add everything, anything you want. You can make the most complex system you can build here if you want 6 screens, because we can of course navigate in here, so I can navigate back and forth and I can order stuff. And okay, that's because the HTML page is not run, is my okay, that doesn't exist yet. But you can navigate, yeah, you can make it as difficult if you want, or as extensive if you want 50 screens in there. You have full control. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, I just remembered it. If we go back to our static one, because I only did a card response. Yeah, I just sent back a hero card with the other one. It's not running anymore. That's a problem. Always have to let your code run, of course. I closed the browser, don't do that. So here I did a hero card response, but we can also do a task module. Now a task module, that's relatively new in Teams. You can also just say, okay, a task module is actually just a pop-up as well. So we can just say, if I go back to my Teams, I go here, order Saturday lunch. So this is my static one again. Rick, cheese, and date, submit. There we go. See, I can do a page as well. So yeah, this is called a task module. It has 50 names, but it's just a pop-up as well. So here you can just see the pop-up, and we can, even if your lunch has been ordered, this can be an extensive solution as well. If you want to start with just simple pre-populated questions and then go into an extensive solution, it's also possible with those task modules. So as you can see here, I do new task module, but what does it say? Same as below, with height, title, and URL. Same as we do in our fetch. Where's my fetch? Here. With height, title, URL, see task module, we can just do a pop-up. Now, that was the pop-up, but we can also do an adaptive card. So let me comment this one. There we go. Hit the stop button. And let's do this one first, why not? There we go. So as you can see here, we're always giving back a messaging extension action response. But this one is a preview. As you can see here, it's a type bot message preview. So if I start this up and I just say, okay, do it with a fetch this time, doesn't matter. There we go. See, now I give back an adaptive card. So this is the preview. So this is going to be the adaptive card. So it's a basic, super simple adaptive card. Yeah, if you want to know more about adaptive cards, what's it called? Adaptive card.io, I guess. No. Google to the rescue. There we go, designing. Adaptive cards.io. I forgot the S. So if you want to create the adaptive cards, yeah, this one is much easier. So you go to this one, the designer, and here you can just say, okay, I want a text blocks back, and I want a media, and I want an input date field, and yeah, you can just create one, and you get the JSON below. So this is the with data, and this is the JSON. So pretty simple. But be aware, adaptive cards, that's a different team within Microsoft, and they move fast. So Teams can't follow them. So yeah, sometimes you have stuff that's not available in Teams. Sometimes you have stuff that's available in bot framework, but not, So because adaptive cards can be used, as you can see here, in the bot framework, in Outlook, in Teams, in Cortana, in Windows. So as Windows notification, they're used everywhere, but not all of them are up to date with the latest version. So if you take Teams, see here, you can even see what's going on in Teams. But that doesn't always test this properly, the adaptive card. Now, if you go back to here, so this is my adaptive card. So I can just, the user can say edit, and then he can edit stuff. This one is not editable, but you could do that if you want that people can add a text field here or add some information. And then we can just hit the send button. So as you can see, another extension method. So when the bot message preview, because this was a type preview, bot message preview, we can then we get that back, and then we can say, okay, this is the real card. So if I hit F5, then we're gonna get the real card, the real adaptive card. And then I can just click an open button or whatever it does. Doesn't matter. Excuse me. Back to our code. So this one was so remember that one. If you do a preview, of course, you always have to give back the actual result. Now, this was the adaptive card one with the preview, or we can just say, no, give me back the real adaptive card right from the start. I don't need a preview. So we can just, let me stop and start this one again to be sure. Is this okay? I hope so. There we go. Good to go. So if I do the same again with fetch, we fetch our URL. So we go back and forth and back and forth. And then we can go. This is the adaptive card. See, I don't have an edit button now. I just have the adaptive card. I can just say, okay, open it up. This is my adaptive card. So this means you're giving the adaptive card in the screen. So because I can have static questions, I can have a full web page, or whatever I want in there, or I can just say, give me back an adaptive card. So this is another version. Here you just you could add functionality here to have, I don't know, to aid your app. If you add an adaptive card, if I add a button here or something, people could do stuff here, and then the adaptive card, that was your solution then. So you can just send back an adaptive card, and then if you want that added, of course, then you need to build that inside your adaptive card. This doesn't add it. This just gives an adaptive card inside the embedded web view. It's almost the same as an embedded web view. Now, you're wondering probably what all this code is. Normally you're not authenticated because people you authenticated in Teams, but you're not authenticated in your code yet. So there's a little trick to get people authenticated. So if I click on, wait, let me just put a breakpoint here, because I already authenticated once, and then of course it caches my authentication. So if I go to this one and I pull it in here, so let's say my token, so it tries to get my token because I'm already logged in. But if I'm not logged in, then we can just say, okay, instead of showing that adaptive card or this messaging extension response with the HTML page or the preview, no, first I want to get the user signed in. So get our sign in link and then do a new messaging response. So we do this also a response, but this one is of type auth. So this one gives us back a special card, which is, I have to do it a little bit faster, of course, which is a special card, which does authentication for you. Oh, I forgot to hit my breakpoint. Let me do that one more time for you guys. There we go. With fetch. If I pull it in here, there we go. And now we get our alt card. See, now you need to sign in. This is Teams generated. So I just added the text, of course, sign in. And then, of course, Teams will generate a pop-up. Normally, I should add my code, but now I get a magic code back. So it goes to Azure Active Directory. It gets a magic code back because, somebody needs to log in, of course. And it will see if that magic code is the same as an Azure Active Directory. And then I can get a get user token. And then with that magic code, I can get my location. So now I'm logged in. So this is my access token. So if we don't have an access token, and with that access token, we can go to the graph. So this, this is a bearer token. Fully unreadable, but it's a JWT token. So you could decrypt that if you want. And then we can say, okay, graph service client, here's my bearer token. So if I go into this one, see, use the graph service client, this is my bearer token. We can go back and we can just say, hi, graph service client, which one is my user that I'm logged in? As you can see here, user now actually has a value. So this is, I don't have that much information in there. I have a business phone, and what do I else have? It's a demo tenant, so I don't have that much information. See, this is my display name and ID, and see, that's my email address. So with this thing, you can also say, okay, people are authenticated, and then because they're authenticated, of course, you can do a lot of stuff, because then you can go to the graph, get their information, send mails to them, you can get who is it, go to SharePoint, get information there from the user profile. So you can do a lot of stuff in here because you have a lot of information. There we go. I was too slow again. So, and then the last thing we have is without the fetch. So it's pretty simple. So with no fetch, I just hard coded in the manifest a URL. We go here. You don't see that little turning wheel. No, it just renders back the entire HTML page at once. So that's depending on your use case, how it works. Now, I see I have 5 minutes left. So I want to show you one more thing. So those were the messaging extensions, but yeah, Microsoft added a new thing. It's not really a messaging extension, but it falls under that category. So if you go to the documentation, they had to add it somewhere. So they just said, okay, let's do this with a messaging extension. And that one is called URL unfurling. So see, it's a message handler. Actually, yeah, it's not a message extension. They call it a message handler. But I don't know if you know. Yeah, you all know this. So if I go to YouTube, let's just say YouTube, I don't know, some Teams movie YouTube. Yeah, there we go. It's in Dutch, but yeah, you get the point. I just get the URL and I paste the YouTube URL in Teams. Then what will Teams do? It's something called link unfurling. So it will go fetch that URL. And behind YouTube, there in the HTML page, there's information. This is the title, and this is your twig. This is the image that we want to show you. This is this description. Of course, yeah, the Teams team built this for YouTube and for a few other services, but yeah, not for your own service. So let's say you want this for your own service. I don't know, your company's public URL, your public website from the company. Yeah, that would be cool if that information that's already served in Google, because yeah, they use that. Yeah, normal company pages have that information in there as HTML description and HTML meta tags. You could get that as well. So how do you do that in Teams? Well, you have to say to Teams, well, Teams, every time somebody makes a link and it's from this domain, because you have to specify domain, so don't go building it for Google or for whatever. Do it for your own domains, because otherwise it's a lot of work if you want to do it for a lot of domains. But you specify your domain. So every time I do a paste of that domain, then Teams is going to say, hey, wait a minute. This is the domain that's described in the manifest. I have to do a call to the backend, to the code, to see how I need to render it. So let's say I take just here the normal one, and I go to Teams and I paste that one. Then, yeah, it's localhost, of course. That's not the domain. That's not the domain, guy. And why didn't anybody tell me that? It needs to be pro Teams dev, of course. So if I go to, there we go. We went there already. So if I just click on my lunch page and I just paste that one, see, then it's gonna go to my backend code. Again, an override on Teams app-based link query async. Yeah, the names, yeah, I didn't invent the names. They're all overrides. So what do we get? We get, of course, the query. Same as with the search one, this is the URL that somebody searched, so you can build some logic on that one. And then you can say, okay, this is the thing I want to give back. We give back a messaging extension response. So in this case, I did a hero card, but as we already saw, messaging extension response can be a task module, it can be anything, but yeah, because it's just a link page pasted, don't make it too difficult. Of course, we don't want a pop-up because somebody just pasted the link. I just give back a hero card. So if I give back that hero card, then that's probably because I did it too long. There we go. Let's do it a little bit faster. And then see, I give back my hero card, which is company app. You are referencing. See, I just added you are referencing our domain. This is the URL that you referenced and an image. But you can do whatever you want with it. If you can do a call, if it's for instance your public website, you could do a call to your public website, get the correct information from the page, and then just show that as a small thing. You can also do it, I don't know, for your SharePoint environment, of course, because you know the domain of your SharePoint environment. If you want to know, get information, there's a lot of pages there. Yeah, you could call SharePoint here, get information from that page, and show your SharePoint information a little bit cooler than just a stupid link. So that's link unfurling. It's not part of messaging extension, but it's like somewhere in the middle. So I have one slide left, and then I was about exactly on time. So my name is Rick. This is my email, GitHub, Twitter. Yeah, if you need my information, send me an email, or just tag me on Twitter. That's easier, I guess. This is my blog. My blog is old. I'm rebuilding my blog since 2 months now, because we have to do something with this COVID thingy. But yeah, I'm making it too hard on myself. I work with Wilddev, MVP. BWIG is the user group in Belgium. And of course, I wrote a book. I think it's being published next month on Teams development. So if you want to know all about Teams development, then yeah, it's all in the book. You probably saw that from the demos, because I'm not rebuilding demos. And that's it. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Any questions, anybody?
I think no, Rick, no problem. Yeah. Thank you very much for demo and nice demo. It's because of your clearly debugging everything you provided. That's really good. Thank you very much. Your time and your presented topic really very good. I hope all these attendees learn a lot of new things stuff. How to build the code. Yeah, it's already they commented very good demo. Okay, I'm stopping the
Yeah,
recording.
that's